Hi everyone, thanks for being here. Stories on this channel don't start with explosions or courtroom drama. They start with small habits that feel harmless until they aren't. This one begins with a routine I didn't question for years. When did helping turn into something I was scared to stop doing? Every Monday at 9, my phone buzzed. Same screen, same tap. I could do it half asleep. The banking app opened, my thumb hovered, and then it was gone, $800,000 sent out into the world like it weighed nothing. I didn't flinch anymore. That's the part that should scare you. It scares me now. My name is Margaret Holloway, 71 years old. The transfer finished, and my phone gave that soft buzz, the one that means it's done and can't be undone. A few seconds later, a message came in. Short, efficient. You sent it, I answered with a thumbs up. No words. No warmth. Just confirmation. That's what our conversations had become. Proof of payment. I stood there longer than I needed to, phone still in my hand. The kitchen felt quiet in that way that makes you aware of your own breathing. I typed another message. Deleted it. Typed again. This time I kept it light. Almost joking. My birthday's coming up this week. I watched the screen waiting for the little dots to appear. They never did. The phone stayed dark. If you're already judging me, that's fair. I judge myself too. I told myself she was busy. I told myself this was how adult relationships worked now. Efficient, trimmed of extra emotion. I told myself the money was helping her, and helping meant love. I told myself a lot of things that sounded smarter than they were. The truth sat there anyway. The money felt like control, but the routine owned me. Monday at 9 decided my mood. Her response decided my day. This story is a fictional work created by the writing team at Her ShaDown, inspired by real emotional dynamics and lived experiences. I slipped the phone face down on the counter and tried to shake it off. I'd already sent the transfer. That was the important part. That was what mattered. Later that night, as I rinsed my mug and set it upside down to dry, I caught myself checking the phone again. Not for thanks. Not even for affection. Just to see if she needed something else. How long do you wait before admitting silence is intentional? I woke up before the alarm. That happens when you're expecting something. I checked my phone without even sitting up. Nothing. No missed calls, no message previews, just the lock screen staring back like it didn't know me. I made coffee, poured it, forgot it, found it cold later. I checked again while it reheated. Still nothing. By mid-morning, I told myself to relax. Adults forget dates. People get busy. I said all that out loud like it counted as evidence. Around noon, my finger hovered over her name. One text. Just a nudge. Something easy. I didn't send it. Pride, maybe. Stupidity, definitely. The afternoon dragged. Friends sent cards. One neighbor left a voicemail that ran too long and made me smile anyway. Every time my phone buzzed, my chest tightened, then loosened when it wasn't her. That rhythm got old fast. Evening came. The sky darkened. I checked again. Nothing. Don't lie. You've waited like this too. At 8:45, out of habit more than intention, I opened the banking app. Mondays didn't care about birthdays. The transfer was scheduled. $800,000 queued up and ready like always. I stared at it longer than usual, long enough to feel ridiculous for hesitating. The phone buzzed when it cleared. That soft confirmation hum. Final. A few seconds later, a message appeared. You sent it. No hello, no pause. Just a check mark on her end of the arrangement. I answered with a thumbs up. My hands shook a little after. I hated that part. I hated that sending the money calmed me more than the silence hurt. I hated that I noticed. Night settled in. I sat on the couch with the television on mute, phone face up beside me, pretending I wasn't watching it. No birthday wish came. Not late. Not awkward. Not at all. I went to bed knowing exactly what I'd chosen. Comfort over self-respect. Again. And knowing something else too. If I asked why, I might finally hear the answer I'd been avoiding. What if the truth isn't cruel, just casual? I waited a day longer than I should have. Not for courage, for fatigue. There's a difference. When I finally called, my voice came out steady, like this was a normal check-in and not something I'd rehearsed in my head all night. I wanted to ask about my birthday. The line didn't answer right away. There was a pause long enough to feel intentional, then the faint hiss of static, like the call itself, was uncomfortable. I know. That was it. No follow-up, no softening. I wasn't upset, I added, which wasn't true. I just wanted to understand. Another pause. Shorter this time. Cleaner. You're not my priority anymore. The words landed flat. No edge, no drama. Delivered the way you'd explain a schedule conflict or a canceled appointment. The sentence didn't wait for a reaction. It didn't need one. I stared at the wall across from me. Not because it mattered. Because I needed somewhere neutral to look. That's honest, I managed. Silence. Then a breath on the other end, sharp, impatient. I have a lot going on. You know that. I did know. I always knew. That's how I'd explained everything for years. I almost set it back. Almost reached for the old script. Understanding. Flexibility. The part where I made room. Instead, nothing came out. That sentence still hits different when I say it out loud. She filled the space herself. She always did when I didn't. So if this is about the money, it's not. I said too fast. That shifted something. The static crackled again. A small sound, but it felt loud. Then what is it? I didn't answer. Not because I couldn't, because the answer would have changed things, and part of me wasn't ready for that yet. Well, she said, already moving on, I have to run. The call ended without ceremony. No goodbye. No closing loop. Just gone. I sat there longer than I needed to phone warm in my hand, replaying the line like it might change if I listened closely enough. It didn't. And for the first time, I understood there was nothing left to argue with. Is staying quiet strength or just shock I didn't yell? That surprised me. I didn't cry either. I waited for it the way you wait for pain after you stub your toe. It never came. My hands shook hard enough that I had to set the phone down before I dropped it. That was it. That was the whole reaction. The call ended, and the room stayed exactly the same. No shift. No signal that something important had just broken. I sat there longer than I should have liked. If I stayed still enough, the moment might rewind on its own. My pulse thudded in my ears. Loud, steady, annoying. I replayed everything instead. Every bill I'd covered without being asked. Every quiet fix. The times I stepped in early so she wouldn't have to feel stressed or embarrassed or responsible. I'd told myself I was being supportive. That was the word I used. Supportive sounded healthy. Noble, even. Now it felt sloppy. I picked the phone back up, stared at her name, thought about calling again, saying something sharper this time. Something that would make her pause, something that would remind her who I was in this arrangement. Nothing came. That scared me more than the sentence she'd said. This is the part where people think they'd do better. Maybe they would. Maybe they'd unload everything they'd been holding back. Or maybe they'd freeze the same way I did, realizing too late that the fight they'd prepared for wasn't the one in front of them. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, came back, sat down again. Every movement felt like it belonged to someone else, someone waiting for instructions. The truth settled in slow and uncomfortable. The fight never happened because there was nothing left to fight about. She'd already decided. I'd just been funding the delay. I looked at the phone again, this time without reaching for it. For the first time, I wondered what would happen if I didn't fill the silence. And who I'd be if I stopped doing the thing that made me useful. How much damage can one tap really do? I opened my banking app without thinking. That scared me more than anything else that day. Habit has a weight to it. It pulls your hand before your brain catches up. The screen loaded. There it was. The automatic transfer. $800,000 scheduled, polished, reliable. Years of Mondays stacked neatly behind it, like proof I'd been consistent, if nothing else. I scrolled. Not because I needed to, because I was stalling. My finger hovered. Actually hovered. I noticed my hand wasn't steady. That felt dramatic, but it was real. My body reacted before my mind finished arguing. This is where I usually told myself a story. It's just money, or she needs it right now. Or the worst one, I can deal with this later. Later never came. I tapped the transfer. Another screen popped up, calm and professional, asking if I was sure. No emotion in the language. No warning about consequences. Just a clean option to continue or stop. I thought about calling her first, giving her a heads up, letting her brace. That urge surprised me. Even here, even now, I wanted to make it easier for her. I didn't. I confirmed the cancellation. The app made a dull click sound. Soft. Final. The kind of sound you miss if you aren't paying attention. No countdown. No dramatic pause. Just gone. I didn't feel brave. I felt sick. Like I'd stepped off something solid and hadn't hit the ground yet. The screen refreshed. The transfer was no longer there. No recurring schedule. No safety net waiting to be reactivated. I stared at the empty space longer than I needed to, half expecting it to reappear on its own. Nothing did. I locked my phone and set it down face first this time, like that might keep it from betraying me. The room stayed quiet. Too quiet. My chest felt tight, then loose, then tight again. I'd made the first move that couldn't be undone. Whatever happened next would happen without my permission. What does someone miss? First money or people I didn't watch the clock? Not on purpose. I only know the number because I checked later after everything lined up too cleanly to ignore. 40 minutes. That's how long it took. My phone was on the table. Face up this time. I told myself it didn't mean anything. I told myself I was done reacting. Then it vibrated hard enough to rattle against the wood. One message. Did something happen with the transfer? That was it. No. Are you okay? No. Hey, I've been meaning to call. No awkward late birthday wish squeezed in as an afterthought. Just the money. I picked up the phone, put it back down, picked it up again. The screen stayed bright, patient, like it knew it had the upper hand. I read the message twice, then a third time slower, like different pacing might change the meaning. It didn't. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Old instincts kicked in fast. Explain, smooth it over, fix the misunderstanding before it turned into a problem. That role fit me well. Too well. I typed 3 words, deleted them, typed again. Deleted that too. The silence stretched. Not tense. Clear. For the first time, I wasn't scrambling to fill it. That's when it clicked. Fully. The birthday hadn't been forgotten. It had been irrelevant. The only thing that triggered urgency was absence of access. $800,000 missing from her Monday morning had more weight than my name on the calendar ever did. Another vibration came through. Same thread. I need to know what's going on. Need, not want, not concern. Need. I set the phone down and let it buzz itself quiet. My chest felt strange then. Not tight. Not heavy. Empty, maybe. Like something had finally finished burning. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt accurate. For years, I'd been telling myself the money was support, that it bought stability, that it helped us stay connected. 40 minutes told me the truth I'd been dodging. The connection had always been one-directional. What happens when access disappears? She didn't wait long after that. The call came through, loud and sudden, like she expected me to be sitting there ready. I let it ring once. Twice. Then I answered. What is this? Her voice rushed ahead of her breath. Sharp. Pressed. You can't just stop things like this. I said nothing. scoff followed quick and irritated. "So now you're punishing me over a birthday. That's dramatic, even for you." I stayed quiet. Not frozen. Choosing. "You've always done this," she continued, words stacking on top of each other. "You give, then you pull back and act hurt when I don't perform the way you want." Perform, that one landed. Her breathing came through the speaker tight and uneven. I pictured her pacing. She always paced when she felt cornered. "You know I rely on that money," she said. $800,000 doesn't just disappear without consequences. "I know," I said. 2 syllables. Calm, even. That slowed her down. Just a beat. "So you admit it," she snapped. "You're controlling. You always have been." I leaned back in the chair, let the accusation hang there without grabbing it. That felt new, uncomfortable, kind of powerful. "You don't get to do this," she went on. "After everything I've put up with, after everything I've let go." I waited. She filled the space like she always did when I didn't rescue the conversation. "This is unfair," she said louder now. "You're being ungrateful. You're blowing this up for attention." Attention? From the person who hadn't noticed my birthday. Notice how fast love turns into math. Her voice cracked just slightly. "Fix this." There it was. The order. Not a request. Not an apology. A command dressed up as frustration. "I'm not fixing it," I said. Silence. Real silence this time. No breathing. No background noise. Just the line open and empty between us. "You can't be serious." I didn't answer. The call ended hard. Not gently, not mutual. She hung up like she was slamming a door she expected me to run after. I set the phone down and didn't move. My hands were steady now. That surprised me. For the first time, she didn't know what to do next. And I didn't feel the urge to help her figure it out. Is walking away still a choice if you don't announce it? I didn't hear it from her. That felt important. The updates came sideways, filtered through people who still thought we were a unit. My sister called first. She didn't say hello, just exhaled. She's asking around. Says things are tight. I didn't respond. Not because I was trying to make a point, because I didn't have one ready. A cousin texted later that night. "She's selling some stuff. Just temporary," another message followed. "She asked if you were okay." "Okay." "Not sorry, not wrong, okay." I set the phone down and listened to the hum of the refrigerator. Late at night, it sounds louder, like it's the only thing still doing its job. The next morning, another call. Different voice. Same tone. She says she's panicking. Borrowed from a friend. It didn't go well. I let that sit. I imagined her saying my name with frustration in it, the way she always did when something wasn't working fast enough. I imagined the math she was doing in her head. Who owed what? Who could cover the gap? I wasn't on the list anymore. "She's waiting for you to explain," my sister added softer now. "Explain what?" That I meant it. That I didn't panic when she did. That silence was the only boundary she'd ever listened to. I didn't step in. I didn't call to clarify. I didn't write the long message people expect in moments like this. No bullet points, no conditions, no final warning. This is where people expect a lecture. "Sorry, I made dinner. I ate it standing up." I rinsed the plate and set it in the rack without thinking about it. Ordinary things kept happening even as something important stayed broken. The truth settled in slow and uncomfortable. If I went back now, nothing would change, the panic would pass, the pattern would survive. So I let it break. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was abandoning anyone. I felt like I'd stopped chasing something that was already gone. Who am I when no one needs something from me? Monday showed up anyway. Same as always. No drama, no warning, just there. I woke up, reached for my phone out of muscle memory, then stopped halfway. There was nothing scheduled. No transfer waiting to be confirmed. No number asking to be sent somewhere else. I made coffee, sat down. did nothing with it. The steam drifted up and fogged my glasses. I left them that way longer than I needed to. It gave me an excuse not to see the screen, not to check for messages that weren't coming. My phone stayed quiet. That part felt wrong. Like I'd missed a step in a routine I'd practiced for years. My chest tightened anyway. Not panic exactly. Something duller. Expectant. An hour passed. Then another. I didn't realize how much of my Mondays had been built around anticipation until there was nothing left to anticipate. No reaction to manage. No fallout to prepare for. Just time sitting there unclaimed. I caught myself listening for the buzz that usually came after the transfer cleared. It didn't. The silence pressed in, then eased off like my body was testing it, making sure it wasn't dangerous. Peace felt suspicious at first. I checked my messages once. Nothing new, no demand. No update, no apology either. That part didn't surprise me anymore. I drank the coffee while it was still warm. That felt like progress. Small. Real. By late morning, the tightness had softened. Not gone. Just quieter. I didn't feel relieved. I didn't feel proud. I felt steady. Like something that had been vibrating nonstop had finally stopped, and my system didn't know what to do with the quiet yet. I realized something then. Without the transfer, Monday didn't belong to her. It belonged to me. That shouldn't have felt radical. It did. I sat there a little longer, glasses still fogged, phone face down, letting the day exist without being measured against what I gave away. Nothing exploded. Nothing collapsed. And for the first time in a long while, that felt like enough. What stays broken when you stop trying to fix it? I never reinstated the money. Not the next week. Not the week after that. The automatic transfer stayed gone exactly where I'd left it. $800,000 that used to leave my account every Monday simply didn't anymore. Nothing dramatic happened when I made that decision stick. No alarms, no sudden clarity. Just the quiet weight of follow-through. She never apologized, not once. There were messages early on, sharp ones, then shorter ones, then nothing at all. We slid into separate lanes without announcing it. No final conversation, no closure speech, just distance that stopped pretending to be temporary. Some days that hurts, I won't lie about that. There are mornings I wake up and feel the absence before I remember why it's there. Other days, I don't feel it at all. I make coffee, I read. I let the hours pass without measuring them against what I give to someone else. I don't pretend this choice makes me noble. It doesn't. It makes me honest. That's different. I didn't cut her off to teach a lesson. I stopped because going back would have taught the wrong one to both of us. The quiet click of my phone screen going dark has become familiar now. No notifications, no demands, no expectation that I'll step in and smooth things over. That silence used to scare me. Now it feels earned. Here's what I've learned, and I'll say it plainly because people dance around this too much. If you keep paying for disrespect, it doesn't turn into gratitude. It turns into entitlement. And the longer it goes on, the harder it is to tell where love ends and obligation begins. I don't know if this was right. I know it was final. If you're listening to this and something in your life feels familiar, talk about it. Say it out loud, in the comments, with someone you trust. Silence can protect you, but shared perspective can steady you. I didn't get a neat ending. I got my footing back. And for me, that was enough.